In this lecture, we will again work with three tables, but the problem is that the three tables are not in one workbook, but they are spread across multiple workbooks. So we have three workbooks here, 1, 2, and 3. And if I just open this for you, you will notice that the first one has a sheet called Sheet, which has the data for East. Workbook number 3 has a sheet called Sheet with the data for South. And then we have a third workbook called 2 that has a sheet called Sheet with the data for North. Our requirement is to combine the data from multiple workbooks. To do this, we click on Data, select Get Data, From File, and then From Folder. It is asking us for the folder path, so we can simply come back, copy the path, paste it here. Let me do that once again. Now, the first thing that Power Query does is to tell you that there are 3 files in that folder. I want to click on Combine and Transform, the very first option. Now it will verify what is the sheet name in every one of these files. Now it is giving us 2 options, either to select the table or the sheet. But please remember, if you look at the 3 different workbooks, do you see this? The table name is not the same in all the 3 sheets. So do not make the mistake of selecting the table, because if you select the table, it would expect that the table name would be the same in all the 3 workbooks, which is not the case. So you want to make sure to select the sheet and not the table. When I press OK, Power Query editor will open up, and you know what? We have got the answer. We don't have to do anything else. If you notice, all the 3 workbooks have been combined like this. The first column tells us where is the data coming from, which is the workbook name. This tells us what is the region, and this tells us the sales amount. If you notice, I have a column called source.name. We don't really need it, but I'll let it be there. I will click on close and load. And now this data set gets loaded back to my Excel file. If we go back to the folder and I make a change to any one of these files, so right in front of you, I'm making this 60 as 160. If I come back and right click and refresh, you notice instantaneously the value also changes. If I remove this entry completely, and if I come back and refresh, then it completely removes that value, right? Very impressive, right? This means that your results are now dynamic, as in how any change happens in the source file, the same changes will happen in your appended dataset as well. Think what will happen if I completely delete a file. Let's say I'm deleting the third workbook, number 3. If I come back and refresh this, you notice that the entire record gets deleted. Similarly, if you make a 4th file, so I'm just copying and pasting this, I'm making this 4. And I just change the number, so let's call this Southwest, Southwest, and we make this 100 and 200. If I come back and click on right click and refresh, you notice that the new workbook has also got picked up. So very cool, right? This means that any backdated change will reflect in our consolidated file. If you delete a row, add a row, make a change to it. If you delete a file, if you add a file, every one of these changes will get reflected in your appended dataset.